Good evening. Tonight we're going to play Lone Wolf, Flight from the Dark, the first book of the series, the new definitive edition that's been released over the past few year or so, and continuing to release. We're up to book number 8 right now, or 7, 8, available on all your great bookstores right now. So it's the first book from Joe DeVere, released originally in 1984, and one of the first game book I've read when I was a kid. So it's a great book that we're going to play together tonight. So it's dark, but it's time. Let's start with a little history that I found in the book, the end. It's about the author, Joe DeVere. Rest in peace. Since 2016, Joe DeVere began his career as a musician and recording engineer before becoming an award-winning sci-fi and fantasy author and game designer. In 1976, he created the fictional world of Magnamon as a setting for his early Dungeons & Dragons campaigns. In 1982, he became the first ever British winner of the Advanced Dungeons & Dragons Championships in the USA. In 1984, his award-winning Lone Wolf series became an international bestseller. Joe DeVere's Lone Wolf has inspired a generation of readers and gamers alike. Each exciting episode can be played separately or combined into a fantastic role-playing epic spanning 32 books. It has sold more than 12 million copies, been translated into 18 languages, and won multiple international awards. So that's the little snippet at the end of the book. For beginning, some kind of homebrew rules that we'll be having. The first one, if we die, I'm going to go back to the previous choice and take another one of the available choices in the previous branch, and so forth. If we die again, we'll go back. So in other words, if we die, I won't restart from the beginning. If there's a fight and we die in the fight, and there's a flee option, I'll take the flee option instead. If there's no flee option and we die in a fight, I'll go back just as as I said before, to a previous branch and take another choice. And if after all of that we're still stuck somewhere, I'll just go back to the fight and skip it altogether, like if we won, so that we won't be still playing this game tomorrow morning. So let's start with some of the game rules, or actually, they want to start with the story so far, before the game rules. So the story so far. In the northern land of Summerland, it has for centuries been customary for parents to send their most gifted children to the monastery of the Kai on the occasion of their 7th birthday. There, they are taught the skills and martial disciplines of their noble ancestors. The Kai are masters of their heart, and the children in their charge love and respect them in spite of the hardships of their training. For one day, when finally they have mastered the disciplines of the Kai, they will be able to return to their homes, equipped in mind and body to defend themselves and their kin against the constant threat of war from the Dark Lords of the West. In olden times, during the Age of the Black Moon, the Dark Lords waged war in Summerland. The conflict was a long and bitter trial of strength that ended in victory for the Sumlanding at the great battle of Makin Gorge. King Ulnar I himself, gifted with Kai powers, aided by the allies of Durnor, broke the Darkland armies at the pass of Moitura and forced them back into the bottomless abyss of Makin Gorge. Peshna, mightiest of the Dark Lords, was slain upon the sword of King Ulnar, called Summer Sword, the Sword of the Sun. Since that age, the Dark Lords have vowed vengeance upon Summerland and the House of Ulnar. Now it is the morning of the feast day of Femarn, the first day of spring. It is an old tradition of the Kai to gather at the monastery in the foothills of the Derncrag Mountains on Femarn, in order to reaffirm their fealty to the god Kai and to the Sumlending House of Ulnar. Kai journeymen and envoys have traveled far to return in time for the celebrations marking the beginning of a new year in Summerlon. You are a young Kai cadet called Silent Wolf. This is the name you were given by your Kai masters. When first you entered the monastery, you are an initiate in this noble order, and this will be the 8th year you have taken part in the Femarn ceremony. Your feelings of pride and excitement are the same now as they were when first you arrived here from your home in the village of Dage, or Dage? A little over half your short lifetime ago. The past few days have been an exciting time for you and your fellow cadets. The journeymen have been recounting their tales of battles won and quests fulfilled in distant lands. On this fateful morning, you have been sent to collect firewood in the forest as a punishment for your inattention in class. As you are preparing to return, you see to your horror a vast black cloud of black leathery creatures swoop out of the western skies and engulf the monastery. The Dark Lords, ancient enemy of the Sumlending, are attacking. War has begun. Dropping the wood, you race to the battle that has already begun. But in the unnatural dark, you stumble and strike your head on a low tree branch. As you lose consciousness, the last thing that you see in the distant shadows is the walls of the monastery and its warning tower, the crystal beacon, crashing to the ground. Many hours pass before you awake. With tears in your eyes, you now survey the scene of destruction. Raising your face to the clear sky, you swear vengeance on the Dark Lords for the massacre of the Kai warriors. And with a sudden flash of realization, you know what you must do. You must set off on a perilous journey to the capital city to warn the king of the terrible threat that now faces his people. For you are now the last of the Kai. You are now Lone Wolf. So, about the game rules. Actually, it is an action chart that we won't be using. We're using dice instead. We'll have to roll dice for some of the things like combat skill, endurance. And there's actually some starter stats. And we'll have to choose skills, Kai disciplines actually. And some weapon skill, equipment. So actually for the game rules themselves. During your training as a Kai Initiate, you have developed your fighting thrust, combat skill, and your physical stamina endurance. Before you begin, you will need to measure how effective your training has been. So to do this, take a pencil, blah blah blah. So we'll roll a dice. It's a D10. So 6, I have a chart here. So 6 for combat skill. The first number that you pick is your combat skill. Add 10. So 16 and not 25. Been a while, I haven't used Foundry. I think I've logged the other 25 there. Whatever. 16. So Combat skill. It's gonna merge the endurance. So another D10. 9, so that's 29. Damn. Very easily. Here, I'll check that later. Okay, that's the combat skill and endurance. Kai disciplines. Over centuries, the Kai have mastered many useful skills, which are passed on from generation to generation. These skills are known as the Kai disciplines, and they are taught to all Kai lords. As a Kai initiate, you have learned only 5 of the skills listed below. You must choose your 5 Kai disciplines before you set off on your adventure. As all of the Kai disciplines will be of use to you at some point during your mission, pick your 5 with care. The correct use of a discipline at the right time can save your life. When you have chosen your 5, blah blah blah. So let's go and choose the 5 discipline. I'll start by just listing them. Then you can choose together actually. There's... Oh yeah, there are the weapon skills too. Okay, there are over there. So the first one is camouflage. This discipline enables Skylord to blend in with their surroundings. In the countryside, you're able to hide undetected among trees and rocks and pass close to an enemy without being seen. In a town or city, it enables them to blend in amongst the inhabitants, and it can help them to find shelter or a safe hiding place. If you choose the skill, blah blah blah, so camouflage, want to hide. Hunting, this skill ensures that the Kai Lord will never starve in the wild. They will always be able to hunt for food, except in areas of wasteland and desert. The skill also enables a Kai Lord to be able to move swiftly and stealthily. So, hunting for food, I'll just write them down here. The next one is Sixth Sense. The skill may warn a Kai Lord of imminent danger. It may also reveal the true purpose of a stranger or a strange object encountered in the adventure. Afterwards, there's Tracking. The skill enables a Kai Lord to make the correct choice of a path in the wild, to discover the location of a person or object in a town or city, and to read the secrets of footprints or tracks. So, Sixth Sense, Tracking. Next one is Healing. This discipline can be used to restore endurance points lost in combat. If you possess the skill, you may restore 1 endurance point to your total for every numbered section of the book you pass through, in which you are not involved in combat. This is only to be used after your endurance has fallen below its original level. So if we ever lose endurance in combat, for each section we read, we can add 1 endurance, or endurance total, up to the total itself, the max total. Sure are also the weapon skills. Upon entering the Kai Monastery, each initiate is taught to master 1 type of weapon. If weapon skill is to be one of your Kai disciplines, we pick a random number on the number table to 10 different weapons. So dagger, short sword, spear, mace, warhammer, sword, axe, another sword, quarterstaff, and broadsword. So healing, weapon skill. The next one is Mind Shield. Some of your enemies will have the ability to attack you using psychic force. By example, the power of their mind. The Kai discipline of Mind Shield can protect you from losing any endurance points when subjected to this form of attack. On the same vein, there's Mind Blast. Skill enables the Kai Lord to attack an enemy using the force of their mind. It can be used at the same time as a normal combat weapon, and it adds 2 extra points to your combat skill. Not all the creatures encountered on this adventure will be susceptible to Mind Blast. You'll be told if a creature is immune, so it's +2 to combat skill for certain fights. Then Animal Kinship. The skill enables the Kai to communicate with some animals and predict the behavior of others. In some cases, it can grant the Kai control over an animal's instincts or actions. And the last discipline is Mind over Matter. Mastery of this discipline enables a Kai to move small objects by focusing on their concentration. So, Mind Shield, Mind Blast. Animal Kinship. And Mind over Matter. So 5 of those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 skills. 10 skills. Anybody has any suggestion? I'm open to all the suggestions you have. Otherwise, I know that some of those skills are quite useful. For example, Sixth Sense often gives a different choice or another path that is otherwise hidden. Camouflage can be useful sometime to evade some enemies. Eating to survive, weapon skills is kind of a must, since it's +2 combat skill rating with that specific weapon, and since at some point we'll probably get the famous summer sword. Sword is a great pick, but it's random, so. And mind abilities are also kind of useful. I tend usually not to take tracking and animal kinship. I'm not really the druid type, some others might be. So let's go with Sixth Sense. One weapon skill, healing. Yep. Sixth Sense, healing. One weapon skill. Then Mind Shield. And I think maybe hunting. Don't think we have any food rations, and I'm not sure they'll last long. So Sixth Sense, healing, weapon skill, Mind Shield, and hunting. And a D10 for the weapon skill. 2 for 2 is. Short sword. Alright, before choosing our equipment, check up with Foundry. Okay. Write that down on the action chart. Shield. And hunting, okay. There we go. So for the equipment now. Your possessions comprise the axe, which you have been sent to fetch firewood. Well, axe was number 7, the weapon skill. A green tunic and cloak of a Kyanishit. You also have a backpack with 1 meal in it, a belt, and a leather pouch in which you keep your money, gold crowns. The money is a random number, a D10 again. So 2. It's only 2, no bonus added. The number, Upon entering the Kai Monastery, every initiate is given a map of the Last Lands. This map shows the location of your native country, Summerland, in its capital city, Holmgard. It also shows the land of Duranor, away to the east, and the Wildlands, which separate the two kingdoms. So to query and use your equipment. Any item that may be of use can be picked up on your adventure and entered in your chart. Unless it's a special item or a weapon, you carry it in your backpack. The correct weapon with weapon skills adds 2 points to your combat skill. And if you enter a combat with no weapons, you must deduct 4 points from your combat skill and fight with your bare hands. Backpack items. We can carry up to 8 items in your backpack at once. If you ever lose your backpack, you automatically lose all the items it contains. You will be unable to pick up and keep any new backpack items until you acquire a new backpack. The special items. Each special item has a particular purpose or effect. It is maybe explained when the item is first discovered, or it may be revealed to you as the adventure progresses. The gold crowns. The currency of Summerlon is the crown, which is a small gold coin. Gold crowns can be used on your adventure to pay for transport, food, weapons, and items, or may even be used as a bribe. Some of the creatures that you may encounter will possess gold crowns. The maximum number of gold crowns in a belt pouch is 50. Food. You will need to eat regularly during your adventure. If you do not have any food when you are instructed to eat a meal, you will lose 3 endurance points. If you have chosen the Kai discipline of hunting as one of your 5 skills, you will not need to take off a meal when instructed to eat. Potions. If you discover any potions during the adventure, you will be informed of their effects when swallowed. All potions are backpack items. The rules for combat. There will be occasions during that you will have to fight an enemy at the start of combat. Enter both you and your enemy's endurance point on the action chart. The sequence for combat is as follows. Add any extra points gained through your Kai disciplines, equipment, and or special items to your current combat skill total. Subtract the combat skill of your enemy from this total. The result is your combat ratio. There's a chart at the end of the book, or in this case, not really at the end, but read at the end. Oh, yeah, it's at the end as well in Definitive Edition. So the combat ratio goes to -11 or greater to +11 or greater, and it's a column actually. And depending on the combat ratio, it's harder or not to fight an enemy. So we pick the correct column. After that, it's another D10 that decides the result of the exchange of blows. When you have determined your combat ratio, pick a number, a random number. Now turn to the combat results table. Along the top of the chart are shown the combat ratio numbers. That's what I just said. And it says the number of endurance that is lost by the enemy and the player character. So it can go from -0 to insta-death. But the most that we can lose without dying is 8, actually, -8. But the enemy can lose up to -18 before insta-death. Then we subtract the loss of endurance. And we repeat the sequence from stage number 3 with the combat ratio and another D10. Evasion of combat. During your adventure, you may be given the chance to evade combat. If you have already engaged in a round of combat and decide to evade, calculate the combat for that round in the usual manner. All points lost by the enemy as a result of that round are ignored, and you make your escape. Only you, Lone Wolf, may lose endurance points during an evading round, but then that is the risk of running away in the middle of a fight. You may only evade if the text of the particular section allows you to do so. By the levels of Kai training, we're right now initiate. So I'll just fill up the backpack. Yeah, right now 2 crowns. And there's an axe for the weapons. Oh, it's down over there. So the X will go like this. You had the X, 2 gold crowns. Forgot the rest. 1 meal. Gold crowns. The green tunic, yeah, right. Backpack, 1 meal. Okay. Not sure that the meal takes. Well, yeah, they don't seem to count on the backpack items. So 1 meal, 2 gold crowns, no items, 1 eggs, and well, the +2 combat skill. Don't have weapon skill actually. All right. Oh, there's a map. That's right. Okay. Kai Wisdom. The Kai have many ruthless enemies, including the Dark Lords of Felgadad and their evil servants. Give and expect no mercy. Use the map to help steer a course during any travel you undertake, and make notes as you progress through the story, for they will be helpful in future adventures. Many things that you find will aid you during your travels. Some special items and backpack items will be of use in future adventures, and others may be red herrings of no real use at all. So try to be selective in what you decide to keep. There are many routes open to you, but only one involves a minimum of danger. With a wise choice of Kai disciplines and a great deal of courage, any player should be able to complete the mission, no matter how weak their initial combat skill or endurance points are. Good luck and Godspeed on the perilous journey that lies ahead for Summerlawn and the Kai. So the map itself. And we'll be starting here at the Kai Monastery. Light from the Dark, Chapter number 1. You must make haste, for you sense it is not safe to linger by the smoking remains of the ruined monastery. The black-winged beasts could return at any moment. You must set out for the Sumlending capital of Holmgard and tell the king the terrible news of the massacre. That the whole elite of the Kai, save yourself, have been slaughtered. Without the Kai lords to lead the regiments of the Sumlending armies, Summerlawn will be at the mercy of their ancient enemy, the Dark Lords. Fighting back tears, you bid farewell to your dead kin, your fellow Kai initiates Rain Dove, Steel Sky, and Snow Falcon, your own tutor, Master Starfire, the leader of your order, Grandmaster Braveblade, and so many others. Silently, you promise that their death will be avenged. You turn away from the ruins and carefully descend the steep track. At the foot of the hill, the path splits into two directions, both leading into a large wood. So the first choice. If you possess the Kai discipline of Sixth Sense, and wish to use it, turn to 141. If you do not possess this Kai discipline, or if you choose not to use it, you may follow the right path into the wood, or if you wish to take the left track, you can go to another section. So, well, we have Sixth Sense, so why not use it? 141. Section 141. Your Kai Sixth Sense warns you that some of the Kran and Geaks that attack the monastery are now searching the two forest paths, looking for anyone who may have survived their attack. Now you are aware of the danger. Make your decision which way to go. If you want to go along the left fork of the forest track under the cover of the surrounding trees, turn to 56. If you will prefer to cut through the heavier foliage toward the northeast, turn to 333. Well, two options there. So, the left fork of the forest track under the cover of the surrounding trees. It's still a track in the forest. So, the cover might not be necessarily enough or foolproof. But we can cut through the heavier foliage instead toward the northeast to evade the Kran riders. So let's go to 333. You have cut your way through the thick undergrowth for nearly half an hour when you hear the beat of wings high above the trees. Looking up, you can just make out the shape of a Kran approaching from the north. It is one of the monsters that attacked the monastery, and on its back are two grey-skinned creatures, armed with long spears and wearing dull red uniforms. These are mountain Geaks, evil servants of the Dark Lords. Actually, there's a dictionary for the pronunciation. G-E-A Key. So Geak, right? Oh, pronounced it correctly. You recall that you were taught about these beings by Master Stormhawk, your old Kai tutor, who was sadly killed during a mission in the Dern Crags. Many centuries ago, their ancestors were used by the Dark Lords to build the infernal city of Elgedad. Is it Elgedad or Elgedad? Well, it's a RG actually, so Elgedad, which lies in the volcanic wastelands far beyond the Dern Crag range of mountains. The construction of the city was long and torturous, and only the strongest of the Geaks survived the furnace-like heat and poisonous atmosphere of Elgedad. Hidden by the trees, you freeze, keeping absolutely still as the Kran passes overhead and disappears toward the south. When you are sure that it has gone, you move off once again into the forest. Turn to 131. So, one danger evaded. You have covered about a mile of thick woodland when you hear a curious noise coming from somewhere beyond the trees ahead. It is a sharp crack, like the sound of a distant thunderclap. There is a pause for a few moments before you hear it again. You stop to listen, and your keen hearing detects other sounds. The clank of armor and the angry shouts of Geaks. Forewarned of possible danger, you advance through the trees with caution, now until you reach the edge of a wide clearing. The ground beyond is littered with the remnants of ancient buildings which have been leveled and eroded by the passing of many centuries. You have visited this place on one previous occasion and recognize it to be the ruins of Romas, an ancient forest settlement and temple that was constructed during the age of the Old Kingdoms. A war party of Gex, some 25 to 30 strong, is attacking the temple sanctorium, the one structure in all of Romus that remains partially intact. A similar number of Gex lie dead or dying among the broken pillars of ancient marble that surround this inner temple, but despite their heavy losses, the enemy are maintaining their assault against whatever it is that lies hidden inside. Suddenly, a bolt of blue lightning rips through the front rank of the Geax, sending the armor-clad creatures tumbling in all directions. A Geac, taller than the others and dressed from head to foot in black chainmail, curses at his faltering troops and whips them forward again with a barbed flail. With your weapon ready, well, my firewood axe, yeah. You leave the tree line and enter the ruins. The tumble of fallen columns and broken, moss-covered walls provide you with plenty of cover in which to hide from the Gex. You are able to make your way unseen to a ring of broken pillars encircling the sanctorium, and from here you try to catch a glimpse of the defenders. To your amazement, the inner temple is being defended by a young man no older than yourself. You recognize his sky blue robes, embroidered with moons and stars. He's a young member of the Magician's Guild of Toren, an apprentice in magic. Whipped on by their leader, 5 Gex clad in dull red uniforms make a desperate frontal attack upon the sanctorium, with their spears held in readiness to stab the apprentice magician. You catch a fleeting glimpse of his blue robes as he hurriedly retreats to the rear of the inner temple ruins. Then you see him turn and raise his left hand just moments before a bolt of blue flame shoots from his fingertips into the snarling Gex soldiers, scattering them to the ground. Close to where you are hiding, you see a purple-clad Gex scuttle past and climb one of the pillars at the rear of the sanctorium. He has a long curved dagger in his mouth, and he is getting ready to jump on the young wizard standing below. If you wish to shout a warning to the wizard, turn to 241. If you wish to run forward, well, actually, the options. We can shout a warning at the wizard. We can run forward and intercept the Geac when he jumps. Pick up a chunk of temple marble and throw it at the Geac's head. Or turn and leave the battle area to run back into the woods. Well, many options here. Kind of the default one is to shout a warning at the wizard. But you can also run forward and intercept the Geac. Throwing a chunk of temple marble sounds like kind of wishing. Yeah, well, I'm not sure it's a good idea. I don't really trust in the capabilities of throwing a chunk of temple marble across a battlefield. Well, anyway. And running and leaving, it's not really honorable for Kylord. So many options, but I'm not really sure there's many good options. I think it's either shouting a warning or intercepting the Geac. And most honorable choice for a Kylord will be to run and intercept the Geac, I think. So, go to 55. Just as the purple-clad Geac makes his leap, You race forward and strike out with your weapon. You strike the Giak in midair and deflect it away from the young wizard's back. The instant it hits the ground, you jump onto its struggling body and strike again. So there's a fight. Against Ogshashez Giak Ambusher. Ogshashez. Yeah, well, I need the pronunciation glossary. It's RGOOO. Primarily stress syllable. It's like boat. So Og. Shashez. Like shake fish. Yep. Ogshashez Giak Ambusher. He's currently already wounded. So, an easy fight, yeah, right? 9 combat skill against my 16, so that's +7. +7 on the table ratio. And 9 endurance against 29. Yeah, should be an easy fight. I mean, I'm not even sure the young magician will be kind of happy that we save him. Kind of killed like 20 of them before. And will be barely killing a wounded one. Alright. So let's roll the first round of combat. It's a 7. 7 on the +7 combat ratio. It's 14 damage to the enemy and no damage to ourselves. The wounded Ogshashez Giak Ambusher is already dead. Alright, it's a good start. So, actually, I should have read the rest of the section. Due to the surprise of your attack and the wound you have already inflicted, you may add the 4 points to your combat skill. Well, just more dead. That's +11 combat ratio. So, it's 7, it's -18. Alright, not much of a difference here. So, if you win, turn 2, 325. Upon seeing you emerge from the woods, the Giak officer shouts, "Oh God, for God!" to his cowering troops, who flee the ruins and run to the safety of the forest. There, "Oh God" in the dictionary at the end. Not really. We would have to check on the internet and the GIAC dictionary of Project Aeon, I guess. Sounds like retreat to me or cowards. Pick the one you prefer. The black-clad GIAC leader follows them and pauses when he reaches the tree line. Turning to stare at you, he shakes his mailed fist and screams, Ranegrogagok! Orgakada! Okakrogagaj! Then he holsters his barbed flail and melts away into the trees. Surveying the scene of the recent battle, you count 15. Okay, well, 5 less than I said before. Dead GIACs lying among the ancient pillars and shattered ruins of Romas. The young wizard emerges from the sanctorium. He wipes his brow and walks toward you with a smile on his face, his hand extended in friendship. Turn to 349. Had a battle music actually, but such a short battle. We see later when we run against the Dark Lord's Ardest minions. So, 349. Tisabrinza's magician is a young blonde-haired youth with deep brooding eyes. His face is lined with exhaustion and the grime of battle, and his long sky-blue robes bear evidence of living rough in the wilds. He shakes your hand and bows. My eternal thanks, Sky Warrior. My modest powers are nearly drained. Had you not come to my aid, I fear I would have ended my days atop a GIAC lance. He's weak and unsteady on his feet. You take his arm and sit him down upon a fallen pillar, where you listen intently to what he has to say. My name is Banadon. I am a journeyman to the Brotherhood of the Crystal Star, which is the Magician's Guild of Toran. My guild master has sent me to the Kai with this urgent message. He removes a vellum envelope from inside his robes and hands it to you. As you see, I have opened the letter and read its contents. When the invasion began, I was on the King's Highway with 2 traveling companions. The Kran attacked us and we lost each other in the forest during our escape. The letter is a warning to Kai Grandmaster Brave Blade and the Dark Lords that the Dark Lords have mustered a vast army beyond the Durncrag range. Their movements and true numbers have been kept hidden by powerful spells of shielding and illusion. The Guildmaster urges the Grandmaster to cancel the celebrations of Emarn and prepare immediately for war. I fear we were betrayed, says Banadon, his head bowed in sorrow. One of my order, a senior brother called Vonotar, was discovered to have been experimenting with the forbidden mysteries of Nazirani magic, the black hearts of the Dark Lords. 10 days ago, he denounced the Brotherhood and killed one of our elders. He has since disappeared. It is rumored that he is now in league with the Dark Lords. You tell Banadon what has happened at the monastery and of your mission to warn the king. Silently, he removes a gold chain from around his neck and hands it to you. On the chain is a small crystal star pendant. It is the symbol of my brotherhood, and we're both truly brothers in this hour of darkness. It is the talisman of good fortune and a ward against evil. May it protect you on your road ahead. You thank him, place the chain around your neck, and slip the crystal star inside your shirt. So, crystal star pendant as a special item. Alright. So the special ability of the star pendant is to repick one number from the random number table per adventure. So we can reroll one die throughout the whole adventure. Try to fit that here, kind of. Well, I'll make that better later. Banadon bids you farewell. We must leave this place, lest the Giacs return with more of their loathsome kind to put an end to us. For my part, I suppose my mission is done. I have delivered my message, and now I must return at once to my guild. For your part, Lone Wolf, you still have many miles to go before you reach Holmgard. Banadon gets to his feet and points toward the trees at the southern perimeter of the ruins. That way lies Elema Bridge. It is by far the swiftest route from here to Holmgard, yet it may no longer be the safest. I bid you farewell, my brother. May the blessings of Kai and Ishir go with you. So, it says to note that we have visited the ruins of Romas for future reference. Okay. Oh, there's a section for weapon there. Alright. Let's note it somewhere over there. Visited the ruins of Romas. There we go. Turn to 293. So the ruins of Romas, they're not on the map. Should be around here in the woods actually. And the bridge is over there. Well, we're kind of a quarter of the way done, I guess. With a wave of his hand, Banadon bids you farewell and heads off into the trees at the northeastern edge of the ruins. You return his wave and then continue your mission, pushing on through the dense woodland that fringes the southern part of Romas, heading in the direction Banadon recommended. You have not gone far when you realize several pairs of yellow eyes are watching you from the undergrowth to your left. Suddenly, a black arrow skims the top of your head. It is the Gaiac ambush, and you must run as fast as you can to escape it. Turn to 281. Okay, so much for cover. I guess they didn't really run away. As you race through the trees, you can hear the horrible cackle of the Giacs close behind you. Soon the trees start to thin out, and directly ahead you can see a rocky hillside. Two choices. So, we can break from the cover of the trees and climb up the hill, or change direction and continue to run through the forest. No information whatsoever. So, do we break the cover of the trees? Actually, we heard before that there was a Kran surveying the area because of the Sixth Sense discipline. So, I think it's a good idea to not break the cover because of that. But changing direction and continue to run through the forest might be dangerous as well, because, well, a forest not easier to run, but might provide kind of a good cover actually. So between the two options, I'd say let's go with only changing direction, and we'll see where it goes. The last Gaiac, well, he was wounded, but the Gaiac was really easy to kill, so 77. Okay, these mountain Gaiacs are unaccustomed to pursuing their prey through dense forests, and you soon outdistance them until finally the sound of their foul cursing has faded into the distance behind you. When you are satisfied that they have given up the chase, you stop for a few minutes to catch your breath and check your equipment. With the memory of your slain kin and the ruined monastery still blazing in your mind, you gather up your meager belongings and push on through the forest. Turn to 19. You have covered no more than 50 yards when you see clumps of dark red foliage ahead. You recognize this to be gallow brush, a thorny briar with sharp crimson barbs. The common name for this forest briar is sleep tooth, for its thorns are very sharp, and the effect of its mild toxin can make you feel weak and sleepy if they scratch your skin. Kai discipline of tracking, we don't have that. So, two options. Avoid the sleep tooth by returning to the track, or push on through the briars deeper into the forest. Well, two options. One is actually kind of dangerous without the tracking skill that we don't have. Tracking. So avoiding the sleep tooth might be the most wise action to take right now. But pushing on through the briars could be faster, better cover. It would be bad, however, to be scratched and just falling asleep in a region where there are lots of Gaiac ambushers just waiting around. So, unless someone has a better idea, I think it would be better to simply avoid a sleep tooth. So let's go to 272. Keeping a watchful eye on the skies above, you move quickly along the trail. You are familiar with its route and have traveled it many times. It leads to a village called Fogwood, a small cluster of cottages and a water mill. Its hard-working woods folk earn a living from the timber they have harvested from the trees, from the ore they mine in modest quantity from the foothills, and from sheep which they graze on patches of cleared timberland. The village was given its name by the charcoal burners who first came here and made a simple forest life for themselves many centuries ago. After 20 minutes, you reach the edge of a clearing where the log cabins and cottages are grouped in a small circle. The huts are unusually quiet. High discipline of tracking, that we still don't have. So, if you do not possess the skill, you prepare your weapon and stealthily approach the huts. No other option. So, well, that's that. No dragging. Turn to 305. Well, I kind of regret dragging now. And will have been better than hunting, I guess. Anyway. Through the open doorway of the first log cabin, you can see the body of a villager lying face down on the rough stone floor. He has been murdered, stabbed in the back by a spear. All his furniture and belongings have been smashed and broken, and not one piece remains intact. This is the evil and the work of Giax, without any doubt, for they delight in the destruction of all things. A quick check of the other huts and cottages reveals a similar story of murder and wreckage. In the last hut that you search, you discover a Giax spear, proof of your suspicions. You may keep this weapon if you wish. Well, we're not really better with a spear than an axe. Well, in case we lose the axe, why not? Can have two weapons anyway, so. Alright. More determined than ever now to succeed in your mission, you continue along the track. Turn to 105. In the distance, perched on the branch of an old oak tree, is a jet black raven. High discipline of animal kinship, something that we don't have either. Well, so far the choice of disciplines has been, well, Sixth Sense was useful, but otherwise. If you do not possess the skill, so 335 for choice. As you approach, the blackbird flies off above the trees and soon disappears from view. You search the tree on which it was perched, but find nothing unusual. Rather than waste any more precious time, you continue off along the track. Oh, I think we lost an opportunity here. Anyway, turn to 121. You leave the clearing and press on, but only after a few minutes spent walking along the trail, you see a stranger clad in red, standing in the center of the track ahead. He has his back toward you, and his head is covered by the hood of his scarlet robes. Perched on his outstretched arm is the black raven that you saw earlier. So, three options. We can call the stranger, approach the stranger cautiously, or simply draw our weapon and attack, no question asked. So there's a drawing of the stranger here. And there's not much to say. A strange traveler. Most probably an enemy. Because of what Banadon said earlier. He was with two companions and lost them. He was pretty much the only traveler in the region. The whole village has been butchered. So, and black ravens are bad ogres usually. But in case it's friendly, I think we should approach cautiously. But three options: call the stranger, approach the stranger cautiously, or simply draw the weapon and attack. So, unless otherwise advised, I'd say that we should approach the stranger and see what is going on. Actually, I would prefer not approach him and just run away, but it seems there's not an option for that, so... 342. You have taken less than 10 paces forward when the raven squawks a warning to the stranger. Turning to face you, the robed creature utters a piercing screech that freezes your blood and knots your stomach with fear. This is no human. It is a Vordak, a lieutenant of the Dark Lords, one of the walking undead. Its piercing scream fills your ears as this fell creature withdraws a black mace from inside its robe and raises it above his head. Frozen stiff with horror, you can feel the Vordak is also attacking you with its powerful psychic energies. You must fight this creature. Okay, well, it was happening anyway. So combat skill 18, endurance 26. Will be a hard fight. I have 16 combat skills, so -2 on the combat ratio table. Deduct 2 points from your combat skill unless you have the Kai discipline of Mind Shield. Actually, we have Mind Shield, so yay. And it is immune to Mind Blast that we don't have. Anyway. So, 18 against 16, -2. About the same endurance. It will be a tough fight. Okay. With a combat ratio of -2. On average, we should fare okay, actually. Yeah, as long as we roll above 3, it's fine, I think. So let's go. First round. 6. So 2 damage against 7 to the enemy. Round 2. 6 again. So that's 4 versus 14. It's going well. It's going well. 4. That's -5 and -4. -4 to us versus -5 to the Vordak. Next round. 6 again. So that's 10 versus 26. Oh, he's dead. Oh, yeah. Alright. Only 10 damage. So bad. Okay, it went way better than I thought, thanks to Mind Shield. Those Vordaks are rather nasty usually. So if you win, turn to 123. As the creature collapses at your feet, its body slowly dissolves into a vile green liquid. The grass and the plants around this spreading pool of smoking, bubbling fluid are beginning to shrivel up and die. In the midst of this foul pool, you see a large scarlet gemstone. It looks very valuable. Further along the trail, you can see a large war party of Geaks, over a dozen strong. Alerted and summoned by the Vordak's final cries, they are now running toward you, intent on exacting their revenge for your destruction of their fell master. So 2 options, we can either snatch up the Vordak gem, or leave it and escape into the surrounding trees. Alright, seems valuable, but it's inside a puddle of foul green liquid with bubbly smoky effects. Looks kind of dangerous. And we don't really need the money right now, we just need to reach the king. The question is, can a Vordak gem either harms us or helps us against the Vordak? But I'm not sure the help part, really. I'm sure it's a trap. Those kind of books in the 80s were full of traps anyway. So I'd rather leave it there, and maybe they can sense each other with that gem. So yeah, right. Unless advised otherwise, I just will leave the gem there in the bubbling acid, not cool liquid, and escape into the surrounding trees at section number 2. Alright. 2. As you dash through the thickening trees, the shouts of the pursuing Giacs gradually begin to fade behind you. Only when you are completely sure that you have outdistanced them and they have given up the chase do you dare to stop and take a rest. You are now in a part of the Frylund forest that you have never explored before. I guess that we're still in the forest over there here. Yeah, we haven't seen the bridge yet or the river, so... Through the canopy of branches above, you catch glimpses of the morning sun. Its position in the sky helps you to get your bearings in this thick woodland. You determine that you should be heading toward the southeast, in the direction of Holmgard. But to do so now will take you back through the forest toward the Giacs. You resolve instead to turn toward the southwest. Yeah, right, southwest, okay. Your hope is to go eastward again once you have passed around the area where you encountered the Vordak and its Giac patrol. Soon you chance upon an old forest trail. It does not appear to have been used for many years. You follow this trail westward for about a mile until it brings you to an old stone signpost. One arm of the post points directly ahead, and the other one points away to the right. The inscription engraved into the arms are badly eroded and written in an ancient text that you do not recognize. Oh, yeah, great. We're in our homeland and we don't recognize the text. Great. Your keen hearing detects a faint noise in the distance, directly ahead. It is the unmistakable sound of Giacs communicating in their harsh, guttural language. Weary of running into another enemy war party, you leave the main trail and set off along the smaller track. You have nearly outdistanced them completely when you crash headlong into a tangle of low branches. Oh yeah, okay, a random number. It's the kind of thing that if we roll low or high, one or the other, we die. So, let's go. 7, so that's a high number, turn to 276. I'll keep my page just in case. Just die. Oh, it seems that we're not dead. Reaching for your weapon, you manage to hack your way through the tangle of wood and twisted branches to the clearer forest beyond. Your cloak is torn in several places and your right leg is badly bruised above the knee. Lose 1 endurance point and turn to 213. Okay. Bad. Still alive. I'm just wondering... really pay attention to what was written on the signpost. And this was an ancient text, there was some information there. So Giacs directly ahead. The other was pointing away to the right, which means to the west, actually. along the river. Alright, there's no town there. Goes over the Dark Crag Mountains into the Dark Lord's territory, so maybe there's a guard outpost in the mountains or something like that. So 213. You have been trekking through the forest for nearly 2 hours. What began as a nagging doubt that you are lost has become a realization. Apart from the occasional cry of a cran in the far distance, you have neither seen nor sensed that the enemy occupies any of the surrounding woodland. As slowly you descend the rocky hillock, you notice something unusual in the tangled woods ahead. Turn to 331. Surrounded by thorny briars and closely knitted tree roots, you see the entrance to a tunnel disappearing into the hillside beyond. It is approximately 7 feet in height and just over 10 feet wide. As you get closer, you can feel a slight breeze coming from the inky blackness. If the other end of this tunnel emerges on the far side of the hill, it could save you many hours of difficult climbing. But you are also wary of the fact that it could be harboring unknown dangers. Okay, it's a choice without many information. Option 1, enter the tunnel. Option 2, climb the hillside. So if we enter the tunnel, there's maybe dangers, but it should be the shortest route, hopefully. But we can climb the hillside, which might be less dangerous or not, because there's a lot of Gaiacs anyway. So we could run in another ambush. But it will take, like it says, many hours of difficult climbing. And it's important to reach the city kind of quickly. And the sun has already risen above the morning. We might need to take a little risk here and enter the tunnel. Our endurance isn't so bad. 18. We rolled really good at the beginning of the adventure, so sure, why not? 170. Unless someone's preferred to climb the hillside. So, tunnel it is. The tunnel is dark and the air is much cooler than outside. You carefully advance with one hand on the tunnel wall to aid your sense of direction. Yeah, sure, going through the dark in a tunnel, wise decision. You have been in total darkness for 3 minutes when you detect the foul smell of decay ahead, similar to rotting meat. If you have a torch, we don't, and tinderbox, we don't. You may light the torch to see your way ahead. Suddenly, something heavy drops from the tunnel ceiling onto your back, and you fall to your knees. It is the burrow crawler, and you must fight it, or it is trying to strangle you with its long slimy tentacles. Yeah, right, it was bound to happen. So, burrow crawler, combat skill 17, not much endurance, so it would be fine. If you have a torch, its flickering flame will aid you during this combat. For the eyes of the rural crawler, especially sensitive to light. Adds 2 points of combat skill, but fighting in total darkness, no problem. We're a Kai Lord anyway. The rural crawler is immune to Mind Blast and Animal Kinship that we don't have anyway. So it's standard fight, no bonus, no malice. Combat skill 17, endurance 7. He has a better combat skill though. Went well against the Vordak with worse combat ratio. Okay, so -1 combat ratio. The same column as a -2, so exact same name as the Vordak. Let's go. 7 HP, 7 endurance point to kill. 1 or 2 rounds will be good. Oh, 7, it's dead. Yep, it's dead. We lost only 2 endurance point. Easy, easy. Staying in the dark. Useless anyway. Oh. Okay. If you win, turn to 319. The carnivorous creature lets out a ghastly death cry and falls still. In a panic state, you scramble to your feet and grab what you believe to be your belt from the slimy jaws of the dead beast. You can see a faint light in the distance, and you run toward it as fast as you are able. When finally you emerge into the daylight, you fall onto the leafy ground and fight for breath in painful gasps. Slowly sitting upright, you notice that you are still wearing your belt. Yeah, sure. Why? Why would I will lose my belt anyway? It had not been lost during the combat after all. What you grabbed from the jaw of the burrow crawler was a leather strap with a small pouch and a sheathed dagger fixed halfway along it. You break open the clasp to find that it contains 20 gold crowns. You may take both the dagger and the crowns if you wish. Feeling a little calmer now, you gather together your equipment and push on eastward into the forest. Good. 20 crowns, that's 10 times what we had so far. I'm rich. Let's go retirement right now. And a dagger. So, we're not proficient with a dagger. We don't have the weapon skill. So, Axe, Yak Spear. Yak Spear, it's trap anyway. Dagger is kind of closer to a short sword. Very similar. I'm sure there will be an occasion where a dagger will be needed and not the stupid Gaiac spear. Turn to 157. Feeling a little calmer. Yeah. Okay. The forest begins to thin out until finally you can make out a road through the tree's head. The highway is full of people heading south. Many are wheeling their possessions along on end carts. If you wish to join the refugees and perhaps learn more of what has happened in the north, turn to 30. If you will prefer to continue to move south but under the cover of the trees, turn to 167. Refugees on the road. Could be useful for information, but at the beginning, the only skill that we have that has been useful so far is the Sixth Sense. And the Sixth Sense discipline told us that the crans were circling around. So I guess that the refugees will be attacked. So it would be safer to continue under the cover of the trees to our own guard. And we can leave the refugees doing what they do best, being refugees, I guess. Why would we want informations anyway? We know already that all the Kai Lords are dead, the monastery is in ruins. So it's already hell on earth, basically, chaos everywhere. So I'm kind of leaning more toward continue under the cover of the trees. Unless someone has Another console to give here. And wants to help the refugees. Talk to them. See if they're alright. And then fighting the Kran and GX that will fall from the sky and kill everyone. I guess we'll stay under the trees. So far the trees help us really a lot. So, yeah. Go trees. $167. You have been traveling through the woodland for about a mile when suddenly you notice two legs sticking out from behind a large boulder ahead. High discipline of 6 cents, right? Or we can take a closer look at the legs, or avoid meeting their owner and press on into the forest. Well, we have 6 cents, why not use the discipline that we have? 178. Your Kai skill enables you to recognize the boots and leggings of a some-lending soldier. You can sense that the man is badly wounded and in need of urgent help. We can aid the soldier or leave him there. Okay, the boots sticking out of the boulder didn't say from which direction. Don't have anything to heal him actually, so kind of aid I can give him. I have the healing discipline, but it's not useful to heal other without means to do so. And it's gonna ensure Kylo will never that's something. The discipline can be used to restore endurance points, blah blah blah. Be sure to remember that your endurance. It's a trap. We didn't encounter any trap really yet, so I know we should aid him though. Should follow our 6 cents. Says that we should help him. Alright, it's a trap. We'll just go back when we die at the ends of another Vordak or something. So, 88. Cautiously, you approach and peer around the rock to see a soldier lying on his back. By his side is a spear and shield. On the shield is depicted a white winged horse and 3 stars. This is the Prince of Summerlund's emblem. This man is one of the prince's soldiers, and he is barely conscious. His uniform is badly torn, and you can see that he has a deep wound in his left arm. He has lost a lot of blood. As you move to his side, his eyes flicker open. "Heal me, my liege," he begs. "I can barely feel my arm." If you have the Kai discipline of healing, we can heal this man. Well, why not? Or we can just leave him to die there and flaunt our healing discipline in front of him. Sure. Yeah, so 216 to save the man. Maybe. Hey, might not have been a trap. 216. Placing one hand on his forehead and the other on his wounded arm, you feel the warmth of your healing powers leave your body and give strength to the injured man. He revives enough to be able to tell you that his name is Trimis, and that he is a soldier in Prince Peletar's court guard. His commander, the prince, and his brothers in arms are engaged in a desperate battle to the south. A large force of the Dark Lord's invasion army has landed there, and they are attacking the Alima Bridge. It is their aim to capture the Great Bridge and secure this vital crossing over the river Unoram, so that their armies may use it to help speed their march upon the home guard. During the battle, Trimis was snatched into the air by a Kran, who has dropped here in the forest from a great height. The canopy of branches slowed his fall, and it is a wonder he was not killed outright when he hit the ground. The brave soldier thanks you for your aid and bids you continue on your way without further delay. You make him as comfortable as you can before bidding him good luck and continuing on your journey. To 264. So, well, it was the proof that it was a good idea to always stick to the woods and not go on the road with the refugees that they're most probably all dead yet. 264. You have covered less than a mile of woodland when you hear the sounds of a battle taking place. The noises are to the west of your current location. If you wish to head nearer to this battle noise, turn to 97 or not follow the sounds and continue on a southerly course through the trees. The trees are good always. So turn to 6. Alright. Choices. Go closer to the battle noise or not follow the sounds and continue through the trees. But we know there's a battle with the prince and his guards. Might be that battle, might not be. The battle is to the west actually though. And the west is further down towards the mountains, not really towards the capital where the prince is. So far we stuck to the trees. I think we should stay under the trees and be safe until on guard. Unless someone wants to go in around near the battle, I guess we'll keep to the trees. So let's go to 6 for the trees. We're near the bridge here, actually, maybe. Guard should be in view soon. Right, 6. In the distance you can hear the approaching sound of galloping horses. You crouch down behind a tree trunk and wait as the riders come closer. When they appear in view, you recognize them to be cavalry of King Ulnar's royal guard. They are resplendent in their burgundy uniforms. Two options, we can call to them or let them pass and continue on our way through the forest. Okay. We didn't run into any trap yet, the burrow crawler doesn't count. So even if it's the king's royal guard, will they recognize us? Shabby, little initiate Guy Lord, body from head to toe, with the torn cloak. The forest has always been good since the beginning. We should stick to the forest and not talk to anybody. I guess I should have taken kind of druid skills at the beginning. So 200 and continue in the forest. Night is starting to close in. The shadows of the forest are growing longer and darker. You're about to stop and rest when the trees ahead begin to thin out, and beyond them you see a large procession of people moving south along a wide highway. You move to the edge of the tree line and observe them a little closer. You recognize the highway to be the main thoroughfare which connects Holmgard with the northern city port of Toran. Judging by the cut of their clothing and the markings on some of their wagons, which are heaped high with personal effects, You determine that these anxious-looking people must be refugees from Toran. And Toran is over there, where there's the Mage Guild. You observe they are passing for several minutes. Then you see a large merchant's caravan loom into view. It is occupying the center of the dusty turnpike. This elaborate carriage wagon is being drawn by 6 large black horses, and it is moving much faster than any of the other traffic on this crowded high road. Mindful of your pressing need to reach Home Guard as quickly as possible, you decide to try and jump aboard this vehicle when it passes in front of your present location. Yeah, that's a clever idea. So far we stuck to the trees, and now why not jumping onto a wagon in the open? Yeah, sure, good idea. If you possess the guide discipline of camouflage, that we didn't take, we chose hunting instead, which was totally useless. So no camouflage. If you didn't possess this guy skill, you can make your attempt to jump aboard the vehicle as it passes by turning to 78. I hope we have the option to say no. Okay, 78. As the caravan carriers passed, you leap for the tailboard and manage to hold fast. Pulling yourself upright, you find that you are standing on the bottom rung of a flat step ladder leading to the rear door of the wagon. Suddenly, the top half of the door flies open and you are confronted by the angry face of a burly guard. Yeah, no surprise there. If you decide to inform him that you're a Kai warrior with an urgent message for the king, turn to 132. You decide to offer him gold crowns for safe passage, turn to 12. Or we can attack the guard. Sure, good idea too. 3 options. Try to board free and say that you have an urgent message, pay him, or attack the guard. Paying people is always a good idea. Money talks. And we found the pouch by killing the burrow crawler. We're rich, so we can give him the 2 gold crowns that we had at the start, no problem, and we keep the rest. I think we should pay the guy and not be greedy here. So on the 3 option, I guess we'll go with paying the guy 12. You can't ask for more than 22. The bodyguard looks at you with suspicion and then slams the door in your face. You can hear the sound of voices chattering inside the caravan. Suddenly, the top half of the door swings open and the face of a wealthy merchant appears. He looks you up and down with his beady, close-set eyes, and then demands that you pay him 10 gold crowns as payment for the ride. We have 10. Problem. Thank you, burrow crawler. So 10 gold crowns. Turn to 262. The miserly merchant takes your gold, counts it carefully, pockets it in his belt pouch, and then clicks his fingers. "Get rid of this fool," he says contemptuously. "The bastard!" In an instant, his burly bodyguard unsheaths his curved sword and lunges at your neck with its razor-sharp tip. Damn. 2 options. We either fight or jump off the speeding caravan, which is going to hurt. Well, I don't really like to be swindled like that, really. And it will hurt jumping off. Well, We killed the Vordak. We killed the Burrow Crawler in total darkness without seeing anything. And we killed the Wounded Gyak. So, yeah, why not the Guard? Can fight at 191. No time to be a fuss here. The muscular bodyguard sees you reaching for your weapon and he curses you loudly. In a flash, he unsheaths his Vasagonian. Oh, the Vasagonian. Those are bad. Scimitar and makes a lunge with it for your head. So the bodyguard has a combat skill of 12 and endurance of 20. A lot of endurance, but really poor combat skill. We can evade combat at any time during the fight and jump off the speeding caravan in case it gets really dangerous, but combat skill 12 against 16, that's +4. Should be alright. Those Vasagonian guys, we're going to kill plenty of them in the 5th book anyway. So better get practice right now. Okay, +4 combat ratio, so it will be fine as long as we roll over... over 2 or 3 again, because we're lower in endurance. So should be fine anyway. Four, okay. Not really good, but still. That's 2 against 8 damage. Round 2. Six better. So that's 10 against 2. 4 versus 18. Oh, almost dead. She'll be alright. 7 better. 11 against 1. Dead. Never mind the trusty axe. So 5 endurance lost in the fight. Okay, if you win turn 224. Maybe we'll get back our gold. As his bodyguard falls dead at his feet, the merchant is gripped by a sudden panic. He shouts to the driver and his mate. "I'm being attacked!" he cries hysterically. "Abandon coach! Abandon coach!" The merchant scurries to the front of the wagon's spacious cabin, where he fumbles with the lock of a small portal set low in the vehicle's side paneling, near to the floor. It is an emergency escape hatch. He flings open his hatch and, with a startled cry, he dives through the narrow aperture and disappears headfirst into the darkness beyond. The driver and his mate have also jumped free, and now the caravan is beginning to careen out of control. Two options: jump after the men in the hatch, or run through the caravan and grab the reins of the horse team and drive the caravan. Why not? It's our caravans now, really. Jumping after the guy, it's like just jumping underground, which we tried to avoid since the beginning. Yeah, it's our caravan now. I need to repay those tingle crowns and the 5 endurance point loss. We don't have animal kinship though, so it will be bad with the horses. And we don't have anything else that could help, actually. Can go well. Surely not. 184 to take control of the caravan. The caravan runs quickly out of control and begins bumping wildly through the rough ground that borders the main highway. With some difficulty, you climb across the roof of the speeding carriage. Oh, it wasn't connecting front and back. That's not the impression I had. But it makes sense. With some difficulty, you climb across the roof of the speeding carriage and gather up the loose reins. Then you manage to bring the frightened horses back onto the highway, where you are able to slow them gradually to a halt. Hey, no problem there. This part of the King's Highway is several miles ahead of the refugee column from Toran and is silent and empty of traffic. You are exhausted after your long day's ordeal and decide to return to the caravan's cabin to see if you can find something to eat. A quick search of the interior reveals 40 gold crowns, a sword, and enough food for 4 meals. You must now eat one of the meals you have discovered. I don't think it counts for hunting. We're not really in a position to hunt. Actually, I check for the hunting skill. That was useless so far. Ensure skin and like our lord to be able to will always step in areas of wasteland and desert. Choose the skin and rain. For meal and on the of meals. If you have chosen the Kai discipline of hunting as one of your 5 skills, you will not need to take a meal when instructed to eat. I don't know how we can hunt right now. I think I'll just biff off 1 meal, so we have 4 meals. 40 crowns, that's too much. So 2 crowns. Is there a pouch? No. I guess I can carry 2 gold crowns inside the backpack. Pouch. Gold crowns currency can be used. No decreases the main counter. Add any gold crowns. Maximum number you can carry is 50. Should be carried in your belt pouch. I'd say fuck it. We have a lot of space inside the backpack, so. Alright. 2 crowns for a meal, minus 1. The sword. Problem, it's not a short sword. And the firewood axe have a sentimental value so far. Dagger could be useful. I'm not sure a sword will be more useful. Yeah, axe and dagger. No need for that sword. Yeah, eat. Having filled your stomach with some of the merchants' fine foods, the exertions of the day begin to creep up on you. You're finding it impossible to keep your eyes open, so you decide to get a couple of hours sleep before continuing on your journey. You only manage to get a few hours rest, but it is enough to revive your flagging strength. Turn to 64. Alright, not exhausted anymore. You are woken from your sleep by the ghastly cries of Kran. A pair are circling above the caravan, watching and waiting for a chance to swoop down and attack. It is now early morning, and the sky is clear and bright. You rub the sleep from your eyes, and as you scour the surrounding landscape, you see a line of orange-clad Giaks mounted on doom wolves. They are gathered on the highway ahead, less than a quarter of a mile away from your present location. When the carriage slows to a halt, the doom wolves move forward in a line abreast the highway. They are advancing in readiness to attack. Why did we take the carriage, really? Should have just stayed off of it from the beginning. Anyway, we're rich now. So we can halt the caravan and run for the cover of the trees. Trees are always good. Or we can cut free one of the leading carriage horses, mount it, and try to break through the advancing doom wolves. Kind of cocky, but we keep going fast this way. But the trees are good. I guess a horse is faster than doom wolves. We should take the horse. We're starting to getting low on endurance point, so okay, let's break a leg like they say. So take a horse at 16. Managed to free one of the horses from its harness and mount it before it can break free from your grasp and run off. It is very frightened by the scent of the approaching doom wolves and the malevolent cries of their evil Giak riders. You draw your weapon and urge your reluctant horse toward the oncoming line of attackers. Not a battle horse. They are now less than 50 yards away and leveling their spears in readiness for a charge. Determinedly, you dig your heels into your horse's flanks and urge him to the gallop. The Giaks let loose a chilling war cry, and the doom wolves now lope forward at full speed. You are charging head-on toward each other. Collision is imminent. 1892. Sounds bad. Okay, you see the flash of a doom wolf's razor-fanged mouth and hear the hateful cries of the Giaks growing louder with every passing second. Two of the enemy come loping straight at you, eager to skewer you with their spears. You're safe from certain death when your horse jumps up at the approaching beast, its flailing forehoofs hammering at them and knocking them aside. You lash out in passing at one of the Giaks riders. Your weapon opens a large wound in the side of its head, and you hear it screech in pain as it tumbles out of its saddle. Then, as if by a miracle, you are through their line and racing down the open highway beyond. Hey, easy. Your bold action has carried you through the charging enemy without injury, but as you make good your escape, a menacing shadow turns and follows. It is one of the Kran, and is diving fast toward your back. Can go off the highway toward the cover of the trees, or press on regardless of the swooping Kran and continue the escape along the highway. Actually, a Kran is probably faster than a horse. Horse over a diving Kran. But a horse in the forest, kind of bad too. The trees were always good though. And remember what happened to the soldier that we saved before? It was a guard of the prince, so he had most probably a battle horse. And got picked up by a Kran and dropped. Miles later on the ground barely survived. So I think we need to risk the horse inside the cover of the trees. And 171 to escape the Kran. Sounds the best to me. 171. You're close to the edge of the woods when suddenly your horse twists and rears up in agony. The cran has struck, sinking its claws deep into the horse's hindquarters. The ghoulish Giak rider squeals with delight and stabs at your back with its spear. One of its thrusts grazes your left shoulder. Lose 1 endurance point. Damn. Trees weren't able to help yet. As you leap to the ground and roll away, quickly you scramble to your feet and make a dash for the trees, leaving your poor horse in the clutches of the cran and its spiteful master. 303. So, no more horse. The forest here is sparse and hilly. It does not give much cover from an attack from the air. You move as quickly as you can from tree to tree to avoid the cran, but you can hear the sound of doom wolves close behind. Kai discipline of camouflage. We don't have that, so turn to 72. Damn, hunting was so useless. Sounds like a fight. Suddenly you are confronted by a sneering Giak. Sitting astride its ferocious razor-fang mount, it attempts to skewer you with its spear, but you are too quick to be taken as easily, and you roll away before the vicious serrated tip can rip out your throat. Unsheathing your weapon as you rise to your feet, you must fight them as one enemy, and it's time to use my healing skill that I've forgotten. So how many section was since the last fight? 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I've healed up to 18 since the last fight. And before that fight, that was 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Actually, we had 24 here. We're full. Damn. So we're full right now because of the healing discipline. And before that fight, 1, 2, 3, 4, so we're at 20 here. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Here we are full at that fight too. Hunting sucks, but healing is really great. Alright, so Giak plus Doomwolf, combat skill 15, endurance 24. That's -1 combat skill. Should be alright. We have to roll better than 3 to be alright. Round 6, so combat ratio -1. That's 2 versus 7. Round 2, 4. 4 versus 5, so 6, 12. Oh, 1, that's bad. Oh. 11 versus 14. We're still ahead. 8, oh yeah. 1, 9. Ah, almost dead. Ah, another one. Dead though. 17 damage. Okay. You went turn to 265. Don't forget the healing discipline now. You read deeper into the trees before any more doom wolves or cran appear. The woodland gradually becomes denser, offering you better cover in which to hide from the enemy scouts. You have been trekking through the hilly timberland for over an hour when you come to the crest of a rocky ridge. The sight which awaits you on the other side of this high ground is one that revives your hopes for success, but also reveals a new and daunting challenge that must be faced. Turn to 142. You can see the tall grey white walls and glimmering spires of Holmgard. The colorful banners of the city's guilds are fluttering from the battlements in the fresh morning breeze. Stretching out toward the east, the mighty river Elidel wends its way from its source in the Durncrag Mountains, through the capital and out toward the broad estuary of the Olm Gulf. When you turn your gaze toward the distant western peaks of the Durncrags, there you behold a sight that blights this magnificent landscape. Hovering among its jagged mountain tops, like dark and malevolent storm clouds, are swarms of Cran. They are mustering their numbers in preparation for an attack on the capital. In the narrow mountain passes below these swarms, you see vast columns of enemy troops on the march. Clearly their intention is to assault and lay siege to Holmgard. We estimate that the main body of their vast army is now no more than 2 days' march from the city's walls. To your left, the King's Highway from Holmgard to Toran crosses the fertile rolling plain and farmland surrounding the capital. At a run, you could reach the outer field works of the city defenses in an hour, but you will be in the open for most of the time and vulnerable to attack by Cran. You ponder the alternative routes that could bring you to the capital, and determine 2 other options. Nearby, you can see a small river. It is the Don, a tributary of the Elidel. It wends its sluggish way across the plain and flows into the Elidel, less than a mile from the walls of the capital. You could use the gentle current of the Don to carry you downstream toward the city's outer defenses. The river's banks are steeply undercut for most of the way, and they will offer you some cover as you approach the fieldworks. Or there is the final alternative. Situated between the River Don and the King's Highway is a vast burial ground. This place is called the Graveyard of the Ancients. It was constructed many centuries ago, in an age before the Sunlanding laid claim to this land and transformed it into the fertile wonder you see today. The tombs and crumbling monuments of this ancient necropolis will certainly conceal your approach to the city, but it is a forbidden area. You shiver when you recall tales you have heard about the nameless horrors which supposedly lie here still in restless sleep, waiting to corrupt and consume the unwary trespasser. So 3 options. Try your luck by the highway, reaching the capital via the river, or are you brave enough to risk the unknown perils of the Graveyard of the Ancients? With our healing discipline and more endurance coming up, sure. Well, what's more fun? Running in the open on the highway, or taking an alternative route around the river, or going through the Graveyard of the Ancients? It's a no-brainer. Like, unless someone wants not to risk it and try another approach, I guess it will be the graveyard of the ancient. It's at 102. As you descend the rocky slope toward the graveyard of the ancients, you are aware of a strange mist and cloud that swirls all around this grey and forbidding place, blocking the sun and covering the graveyard in perpetual gloom. A chill creeps forward to greet your approach. With a feeling of deep dread, you enter the eerie necropolis. 284. You pass beneath the main gate's broken arch and realize at once that your passage through this graveyard is not going to be an easy one. The ground is broken and covered with thorny graveweed. This wicked briar snags your cloak and claws at your legs as slowly you wend your way between the ancient crypts. The clammy air is difficult to breathe. The sickly sweet gases that are seeping from the open crypts seem to carry with them the haunting murmur of distant whispering. The sounds are very faint, but they torment your ears and fill your mind with sinister shadowy images. Carefully you make your way between two ancient pillars, parting the tangled graveweed with your cloaked hand. Then suddenly there is a loud rumbling sound, and the ground collapses beneath you. With a yelp of fear and surprise, you drop down into a dark void amidst a tumble of loose grey earth and stone. 71. You're winded by the fall, but not badly hurt. Lose 1 endurance point. Okay, so far I'll just retract it and add them later if we need them. So, okay. You have dropped 15 feet or so through the fractured roof of an underground tomb. As the dust settles, you see that the walls of this burial chamber are fashioned from a slick black marble which is seamless and slippery with damp. You are unable to climb back to the surface by this way, cursing your ill fortune. You look around the gloomy chamber in the hope of finding some other way by which you can leave. As your eyes become accustomed to the grey half light, you notice an arched tunnel in the east wall of the tomb chamber. Set close to this archway is a sarcophagus, its dome lid carved with the name and likeness of some ancient noble. So we can use the sixth sense here, or open the sarcophagus, or leave through the tunnel. Sixth sense, page 65, helps to heal too. Your spatial Kai sense is screaming a warning that this chamber has now been occupied by an invisible entity which is wholly evil. Alerted to the danger, you turn toward the tunnel and leave this cursed tomb as quickly as you are able. Nice, sixth sense, always useful. 104. The walls of this tunnel are dank and slimy, and trailing cobwebs brush your face as you explore its murky depth. You can feel a panic beginning to knot your stomach as this fetid passageway gets darker and darker. At length, you come to a junction where the tunnel meets a narrower corridor, crossing from north to south. No information, either north or south. Actually, south should go toward the capital, north probably won't. If they're correct cardinals. Really, we should go south toward the capital. This chillingly cold corridor gradually descends before making an abrupt turn towards the east. Cautiously, you peer around the corner and see a greenish glow, which illuminates the tunnel in the far distance, revealing engravings on its walls and ceiling. Cautiously, you examine these curious etched prints. You recognize them to be Shanti hieroglyphics, the picture word language of a species of supernatural beings that first appeared in your world, Magnamun, over 6,000 years ago. The engravings seem to tell a story, but you are unable to fathom their meaning. Now you wish you had paid more attention during Master Amber Hall's tutorials in the ancient history of Magnamoon. If only your esteemed master were here to see this, he will know their meaning, and he will be enthralled by this discovery. Your only memory of his teachings about the Chianti is that they were once a powerful and goodly group of beings, some of whom were tragically corrupted by the agents of Nar, the king of the darkness. Goddess Ishir, whom the Chianti worshipped, then sent them away in exile to a remote isle where they were forbidden from ever having contact with humankind again. Big lorddom for like 20 books down later in the series. Assisted by this eerie light, you are able to make faster progress, and soon you come to a place where the passageway opens out into a large chamber. The strange green light is emanating from a big stone bowl that rests atop a granite throne. On a plinth in front of the throne, there stands a statue. It has the appearance of a winged serpent standing upright upon a ridged tail and curved into the slender shape of a large S. Three options: we can sit on the throne, sure, why not? Examine the statue, or look for an exit from this chamber. I think examining the statue will give more time for heal. And we'll probably be able to sit on the throne later or look for an exit. Sure, sitting on the throne sounds really safe. Well, maybe we're exhausted too, so be an idea. Well, what can happen with a statue, right? Another 133. As you approach the statue, several cracks appear in its stone surface. Sensing something is very wrong, you reach for your weapon. As your hand closes upon it, there is a loud crackling noise and a real winged serpent breaks free of its stone mantle. The creature takes to the air and comes speeding toward you, its bony fangs gleaming wetly in the eerie green light. You cannot evade this attack and must fight the creature to the death if you are to survive. This creature is immune to Mind Blast. Alright. Combat skill 16. 18 endurance. I have no more space on my sheet for the fights. I don't remember having that much fight in the original book. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So we're at 20. The healing spleen. Ugh. What's 18? Yeah, 18. With a combat ratio of 0, should be fine. Serpent statue must have lots of loot, right? So with a combat ratio of 0, we should roll above 3 again to be safe. 3, maybe 4. Round 1. 6, that's good. So 8 versus 2. Round 2. 5. Good. 2 versus 7. And round 3. Oh, right. No damage. The creature's dead. Went fairly well. When the fight turned to 266. As the winged serpent writhes in its final death agonies upon the grey stone floor, a previously hidden portal in the east wall clicks open to reveal a narrow corridor. Fearful that the chamber may contain more tomb guardians like the one you have just defeated, hurriedly you dash through the secret doorway. Your escape is made not a moment too soon. Just seconds after you enter this narrow passageway, swiftly the portal slides shut behind you with an ominous crunching of stone. 209. The narrow corridor ahead gradually ascends. As you reach the top of this slope, a stone portal slides aside to reveal another passageway directly ahead. You step through the opening, and the portal closes behind your back with a heart-stomping bang. 23. The corridor soon widens out into a large hall. At the far end, there is a stone staircase leading up to a huge door. 2 black candles on either side of the steps dimly illuminate the chamber with an unnatural light. You notice that no wax has melted, and as you get nearer, you can feel that the candles give off no heat. Ancient engravings cover the floor, the walls, and even the ceiling of this chamber. Anxious to leave this evil tomb as quickly as you are able, you examine the door, hoping to find a latch. An ornate pin appears to keep the door secure, but there is also a keyhole in the center of its ancient lock plate. We can use a golden key that we don't have, or the Kai discipline of mind over matter to lockpick the door that we don't have. So the only options left are to remove the pin and no other option. So yeah, we need to remove the pin and fall into a trap. So we missed the gold key. I won't spoil where the key is, but I know where it is. And it's stupid. But anyway, buy the book. Get the key yourself. 337. Just as the ornate pin lifts clear of the lock, there is a deafeningly loud crack of breaking stone. Oh my god, the Kai discipline of hunting, it serves a purpose here. Add 1 to a random number. If you possess the Kai discipline of 6th sense, add 2. So we have plus 3 on the random number. And technically, higher is the better, I guess. So we need to roll 2 or more to be fine. And I have the Crystal Star Pendant to reroll 1 die in case something goes horribly wrong. Like this. Well, is it a 0 or a 10? I think it's a 0. Yeah, it's a 0. So that's 3. Fail. I use the Crystal Star Pendant to reroll. Hey, success! 5 plus 3. That's 8. Turn to 317. No more Crystal Star Pendant for the rest of the book. Thank you, Benedon. Instinctively, you dive away from the top of the stairs and land heavily on the stone floor of the chamber below, grazing your knees and elbows as you roll to a halt. Lose 1 endurance point. Fine. Your landing may have been clumsy, but your quick reactions have saved your life. A large granite block has dislodged from the ceiling and crushed the steps on which just moments ago you were standing. Shaken by this close call, you struggle to your feet and step forward to inspect the damage. A shaft of dull grey light is now seeping into the chamber from above, through the space where the fallen stone block was once positioned. At the top of this shaft-like aperture, you can see a tangle of grave weed and the cloudy grey sky above. The insipid light renews your hopes of escaping from this nightmarish underworld. You are able to climb the shaft without too many problems, but as you come near to the surface, you are forced to use your weapon to cut a way out through the tangle of vicious foliage. In so doing, you suffer several small cuts to your face and to the back of your hand. Lose another 1 endurance point. Okay. Finally, you emerge once again into the necropolis, at a place close to a narrow pathway which is sandwiched between two black stone mausoleums. Looking down into the hole from which you have just escaped, you see a pulsing green light which steadily grows in intensity. Then a cruel inhuman laugh seems to rise out of the very ground on which you are now standing. It reverberates around the misty graveyard, sending a wave of panic coursing through your veins. Shivering with a sudden fear, you turn away from the hole and run as fast as you are able toward the south gate of this evil necropolis. 61. The moment you pass through the graveyard's south gate, you feel as if a great weight has been lifted from your shoulders. The cleaner air clears your lungs and your head, and the feeling of fear and dread that has haunted you ever since you first set foot in the necropolis now melts away like snow in spring sunshine. Revitalized by your successful escape, you pick up your pace and settle down into an easy run toward the distant perimeter fieldworks. This high log wall extends all the way around the city and provides home guard with a defensive line running parallel to the main city walls. As you head toward the sentry post, you begin to hear the excited shouts of the guards stationed all along the log wall. They are cheering you on. You give thanks to Kai and Ishir that they recognize you, for you must appear a ragged and suspicious figure. Your cloak is torn and hangs in tatters, your face is scratched and blood-smeared, and the cloying grey dust of the graveyard of the ancients covers you from head to toe. It is only when you are splashing across a shallow stream, less than 100 yards from the gate to the sentry post, that the full horror of your graveyard encounter finally catches up with you. Your heart begins palpitating widely and all the color drains from your face, leaving you feeling nauseous and with a ghost-like pallor. The last thing you can recall before shock and exhaustion rob you of consciousness is falling forward into the outstretched arms of two some-landing soldiers who have run from the sentry post to help you. So we need to note that we have survived the perils of the graveyard of the ancients for future reference. Okay. Runs of Romance. Survive the graveyard of the ancients. $268. Technically we're at the capital, so should be close to the end. You black out for only a few minutes before you are revived with a measure of strong spirit. Feeling weary but thankful to be alive, you lean on the shoulders of the king's men and you stagger toward the other defenses. 288. As you are making your approach toward the walls of the fieldworks, a watchful lookout spots you and informs the sergeant. A trio of grim-faced soldiers are sent out to intercept you. fearing that you could be an enemy scout attempting to sabotage the weak spot in their defensive wall. The soldiers are armed with loaded crossbows, which they train on you as they get closer. Rather than run the risk of being shot by your own side in error, you raise your hands in a gesture of surrender. Although they do not try to disarm you or confiscate any of your equipment, these wearisome landing soldiers never once lower their crossbows nor take their eyes off you for a second as they escort you back to the wagon gate. It is not until you are inside the perimeter fence and delivered into the hands of their sergeant that your true identity is recognized. The battle-weary sergeant immediately orders his men to lower their weapons. "My liege," he says respectfully, "where are the Kai? We're in desperate need of their battle skills and leadership. The enemy press us most cruelly at the other northern wall, and our casualties are mounting high." Sadly, we inform the brave soldier of the fate that has befallen your kin, and the urgency of your desire to see the king and report the calamity. He is visibly shaken by your news. Dumbstruck by the shock of it, he motions to his men to return to their battle stations on the outer wall. Then he asks you to follow him, while he tries to locate his commanding officer. Eventually, he finds the officer, a young lieutenant, busily overseeing the reinforcement of the river barges. When you tell him your account of what has happened, and how you have made your way here alone, he too is visibly shocked by the dire news. With a trembling hand, he signals to his sergeant to go and fetch 2 horses. While you are waiting for his order to be carried out, the lieutenant offers you some food and wine from his backpack. Restore 3 endurance points. Okay, let's see the healing skill before. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 22 plus 3, 25. Alright. You are finishing your meal when the sergeant returns with 2 saddle horses. The fair-haired young lieutenant motions you to join him, and together you mount up and ride toward the main gate of Holmgard. 129. I need all that HP though. Between the perimeter defenses and the high stone walls of the capital, there is a wide area of clear land known as the Holmgard Pale. The shanty dwellings that pepper these outskirts are usually occupied by petty criminals, cast out of the city as a punishment for their crimes. Now it is crowded with farmsteaders and villagers that seek sanctuary. The broad highway leading to the main city gatehouse is choked with traffic, and with each passing hour the chaos worsens as the first refugees from Toran arrive in their hundreds. The sergeants of the Holmgard garrison try desperately to keep the highway open, for it is the only means by which troops can pass from the city to reinforce the northern perimeter. It takes you and the young officer an hour to reach the city gatehouse, a ride of less than 2 miles. Waved on by the hard-pressed gatehouse guards, you pass through the archway and the tunnel beyond, 100 yards in length, and then emerge into Viner Square. This grand plaza usually serves as the marketplace, but today it teems with so many desperate people that you can barely glimpse its famed flagstones of pink Palmyrian marble. You and the officer finally halt outside the doorway of the main watchtower. You can continue to follow the officer, or we can try to get to the king on our own. It's really a weird choice. Why not follow the officer? Sure, it's a trap. But there's really no reason not to leave, not to continue to follow the officer and leave him. Well, unless someone has another advice, I guess we'll have to follow the officer. It's kind of silly to just Even there, continue. So, 3, follow the officer. At least with the healing discipline, the full health when some kind of creature will drop on us. Staying close to the officer, you follow him through an arched portal and up a short flight of stairs to a long hall. Soldiers run back and forth bearing orders on ornate scrolls to officers stationed around the city wall. A haggard and scar-faced man, dressed in the white and purple robes of the king's court, approaches you and bids you follow him to the citadel. You can decide to follow this man, or decline his offer and return to the crowded streets. It's kind of weird choice again, because we're still following the officer. I guess that declining his offer will permit us to follow the officer. And why does weird, haggard, scarred-faced man just approach us? Hey, come with us. It's safe. Take my candies. Yeah, right. I think we should decline, really. 144. Anyway, he will attack us. Kill the officer. Some kind of shit like that. 144. You fight your way through the press of bodies in the main avenue and edge toward the citadel in the far distance. City folk and refugees are now rushing and to and fro in the grip of panic as the first cries of Kran are heard circling high above. In the crush, one item is stolen from your backpack. Choose which backpack item is missing. I guess I'm losing my crowns. Sure. You no longer have okay, right. At length you reach a junction where another wide avenue called A-Way. Okay, A-Way. Crosses from left to right. You're trying to make your way across to the far side when a runaway horse and cart careers past your back. The hub of the wheel clips your side and knocks you headlong into a doorway. You crash heavily against a locked shop door and fall to your knees, stunned and bruised by the sudden impact. Lose 2 endurance points. But we're most probably full since then. 1, 2, 4, yeah, we're full. So that's 27. As you stagger to your feet, the door bursts open and a decrepit old man appears. He is brandishing a rusty meat cleaver. Ah, he cries. I warned you all to get away from my shop. I warned you! Don't say I didn't warn you! Takes a wide swing at your head and you only just pull away in time to avoid losing the end of your nose to the cleaver's heavy blade. The man has been driven mad with fear and is now beyond all reason. The manic look in his eyes tells you that he is determined to kill you. Why would I kill that man? Fight or flee. I think I'll just flee there. Really poor man. And where's the officer anyway? You quickly escape from the madman and dodge along a narrow alleyway, where the houses are small and badly maintained. The overhangs of their tiled roofs keep their doorways forever in the shadows. At the very end of this alleyway is a green door. Unlike all the others, this door has been freshly painted. A sign above it says Kolanis, Sage and Herbalist. Well, you can enter or just wait till the madman has disappeared. Why not entering? Kolanis sounds like a good guy. Sage and Herbalist. $91. You push open the creaky door and discover a small shop lies beyond. The interior is dark and musty. Books and bottles of every size and color fill the many shelves that line the walls from floor to ceiling. As you push shut the door, a small black dog begins to yap at you. A bald man appears from behind a large screen and bids you welcome. He politely inquires as to the nature of your visit and offers you a choice of his wares from his glass-topped counter. Kai discipline of 6 cents. 198. And we're fully endurance now. Your Kai sense alerts you to the presence of someone else who is lurking behind the screen. There is the lingering aura of wickedness in the air, as if things are not quite what they seem. Forewarned by your sixth sense, you rest your hand lightly on the hilt of your weapon, just in case. If you wish to offer the man an apology saying you have come to the wrong place by accident, you can leave the shop and return to the main avenue. Hopefully you will be able to make better progress through the teeming crowds on your second attempt. Or you can decide to accept his invitation to examine the goods in his glass-top counter. We should follow our sixth sense and simply go outside. We should be near the king, really. For what seems an eternity, really, it seems like that for real, the rush of the crowd carries you along like a leaf on a fast-flowing stream. You desperately fight to stay on your feet, but you feel weak and dizzy from your ordeal, and your legs are as heavy as lead. Suddenly you catch a glimpse of a long, narrow stone stairway that leads up to the roof of an inn. Mustering your reserves of strength, you force your way out of the crowd and clamber up the stairway. You stop halfway for a few minutes to catch your breath and rest your aching legs, then slowly you complete your climb to the top. From this high vantage point, you get a magnificent view of the rooftops and spires of Holmgard, with the high rotunda of the King's Citadel gleaming brightly in the spring sunshine. The houses and buildings of the capital are built very close to each other, and it is possible to jump from one roof to the next. In fact, many of the citizens of Holmgard used to use the roofways, as they are known, when the heavy autumn rains made the unpaved parts of the streets too muddy for walking. But after many accidents, a royal decree in the year MS 5029 forbade their use. After careful thought, you decide to use the roofways, as they're your only chance of reaching the king. You have hopped, skipped, and jumped across several streets, and you are only one street away from the King's Citadel when you come to the end of a row of rooftops. The jump to the next row is much further than anything you have attempted before. You peer over the edge and look down on the heads of several hundred people, more than 50 feet below. A knot forms in your stomach, and you wonder if your legs will still have the strength enough to carry you over the daunting gap to the final rooftop beyond. With grim determination, you decide to make the jump. You have come too far to turn back now. With the blood pounding loudly in your ears, you sprint to the edge of the roof and launch yourself into space, your eyes fixed on your chosen landing point, a flat section of the opposite rooftop. Hey, guide discipline of hunting serves here, +1. We need to roll 2 or more to succeed. Right, 9 + 1, 10, so 25. You leap across the gap and land with such a crash on the opposite rooftop that the wind is knocked out of your lungs and you are left lying flat on your back with your head in a spin. It takes a minute or so for you to fully realize that you have made the jump successfully and have landed safely on the other side of the street. When your senses do return, you jump up and punch the air with joy, elated by your skill and daring. Quickly you are able to find a way across the final roof and climb down a long drain pipe to the street below. Directly opposite this building, you can see the great armored doors of the King's Citadel. They are opening to allow a covered wagon to leave. It is drawn by a team of 6 large horses. The horses are frightened by the noisy crowd, and the front pair rear up, causing the wagon to smash one of its wheel hubs against the iron door. In the resulting confusion, you see an opportunity to enter. Boldly you run forward, weave through the crowd, and then slip past the wagon while the gate guards are distracted. 139. The inner courtyard is a bustle of activity. Cavalry scouts are waiting beside their nervous horses for messages from their unit commanders inside the Great Hall. They take orders with great speed to the defenders of the other fieldworks. No sooner do they gallop off than other scouts return, many of them breathless and wounded. They have taken barely a dozen steps beyond the stronghold's main gate into the courtyard when you hear a deep voice boom out. "Stop the intruder!" 66. Still don't know where the officer has gone. But well. Startled, you turn around to see a burly sergeant and two soldiers running toward you. Their swords drawn as if to strike. You prepare to defend yourself, for it looks as if they are about to attack first and ask questions later. But suddenly, the sergeant calls his men to a halt. He has recognized your cloak. You put away their weapons and apologize many times for the mistake. The sergeant orders one of the men to fetch the captain of the guard, as he leads you to the doors of the Great Hall. You are greeted by a tall and handsome warrior who listens intently to your story. When you have finished the account of your perilous journey to the capital, you notice a tear in the brave man's eye as he bids you to follow him. You walk through the splendid halls and corridors of the inner palace. The richness and grandeur are a wonder to behold. You eventually arrive at a large carved door, guarded by two soldiers wearing silver armor. You are about to meet the king. Last section, 350. Read the definitive edition, is quite longer than the original book in my souvenir. And we're full HP since a while, because of the healing guide discipline. You enter the Chamber of State, a magnificent hall decorated lavishly with works of art and the battle banners of the House of Ulnar. The king and his closest advisors, including Chancellor Galden, are studying a large map spread upon a marble plinth in the center of the chamber. Also standing beside them is Princess Madelon, the king's beautiful youngest daughter. Their faces are lined with worry and concentration. The king gives you a formal greeting and then requests that you tell him your news from the Kai Monastery. A silence fills the hall as you tell of the death of your kinsman and of your perilous journey to the citadel. When you have finished telling your story, the king looks to his chancellor and his daughter and shakes his head sorrowfully. "We must prepare for the worst," he says. "Let us pray that Ishir and Kai will deliver us from the evil of the Dark Lords." "You have not told us your name, brave Kai," says Princess Madelon. You begin. After a moment's thought, you finish your reply. "Lone Wolf. My name is Lone Wolf." Like James Bond, I guess. The king approaches you and takes your right hand in his. "Lone Wolf, you have selfless courage, the quality of the true Kai. Your journey here has been one of great peril, and although your news comes as a grievous blow, the spirit of your determination is like a beacon of hope to us, all in this dark hour. You have brought great honor to the memory of your masters, and for that we praise you." You receive the praise and heartfelt thanks of the entire hall, an honor that brings a certain redness to your young face. The king raises his hand and all the voices cease. "You have done all that Summerlund could have asked of a loyal soldier, but she is greatly in need of you still. The Dark Lords are powerful once more, and under the leadership of Archlord Zagarna. Their ambition knows no bounds. Our only hope lies within Duranor, with the power that once defeated the Dark Lords an age ago. Lone Wolf, you are the last of the Kai. You have the skills. Will you journey to Duranor and return with the Summer Sword, the Sword of the Sun? Only with that gift of the gods may we crush this evil and save our land. Wish to accept the quest of the Summer Sword? Begin your adventure with Book 2 of the Lone Wolf Adventures. Fire on the Water. Next week, same hour, same time, same channel. Thank you for being there, those that logged on and checked the stream. This week, we'll follow up with Fire on the Water, where it goes. After a long journey for Lone Wolf inside the universe of Jodivir.